and I'll just ramble a couple sentences just to make sure it connects and it goes live, and now we'll just assume that it's going. So, hey everybody, welcome to the Command Z and the Summerlands Academy for Radical Undoing YouTube. Here today with Mark Thomas. He is one of two recent grads of or completers of the Command Z Radical Undoing teacher training, which is a 1-year adventure. So welcome, Mark. Nice to see you.
Awesome. Thanks. Good to see you too, man.
Yeah, as always. So I just wanted to introduce everybody who's on the channel to Mark, and then we'll just have a brief discussion about how Mark and I came to know each other, and then the work that Mark has done with Command Z and with Radical Undoing, and then some of the teacher training stuff, and then we'll also let you know right now and then again at the end that you can get in touch with Mark at the email address mark@radicalundoing.com for live in-person Radical Undoing sessions in and around Edmonton, Alberta. And I'm sure for the right price, Mark would travel somewhere in Canada as well. So, just get in touch, and then he or we will work that out. So, Mark, how did this all begin? I know it goes way back, almost before, I think, Command Z even was the name of the endeavor.
Yeah, I think it was Escape Plans Unlimited at that point I found somewhere.
That's right, yeah. And Creative Deconstruction,
yeah. Yeah. So I started reading Robert Anton Wilson maybe 20 years ago and went through some of the exercises that he suggested in like quantum psychology, Prometheus Rising. In one of those books, he mentioned Dr. Hyatt and the body work known as Radical Undoing. So I picked up his book, and there's 3 methods, I believe, in there of the body work.
Yeah, like there's three, let's say, sequences of what we call now the warm-ups. And then way in the back of the book, where few people ever tread, there was 4 complete laydown sessions, but all pretty much just written instructions for those.
Right. So I started working with those pretty diligently by myself for, I want to say, a couple of years. And then I found Radical Undoing. I mean, I went through a few different phases before even touching Radical Undoing or the bodywork stuff of trying like Tai Chi, yoga, Zen meditation, all this kind of stuff, and found it somewhat lacking. And then you hit Radical Undoing, and it's like waking up in your body for the first time.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it, like waking up in your body for the first time. And I wanted you to describe it just because I'm going to have everybody who's tried it share on this same issue. Like, so what is the Radical Undoing to you, in your words?
It's a system of body movements to me that seems to de-stress the mind through the body. Instead of trying to work through the mind, you go through the other direction.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. And so, how did you and I get into contact? What happened there?
Well, I kept searching around, found the website Command Z, and then I got in contact with yourself and Riley at the time. And what was that first? I don't even remember what the first thing I went through was.
It might have been The Way Down. Did you take that course? It was on Justin.tv.
Perhaps. It's almost like 17 years ago now.
It's a long time. So, yeah, and then I know you ended up doing the Esozone Codex.
Yes.
And you made a deluxe course, and you were the only guy at that time who did the deluxe, and that's where we were. And that course will still be available. It's not right now, but it will be again. So yeah, you did that course without going into a lot of detail. So what was that like for you? I think you had a lot of different life changes go on, at least in correlation with that time period.
Oh yeah, it was absolutely incredible. My life totally fell apart or fell together within that year. Moved probably 7 times within 18 months. Moved out to BC, to Penticton. Had an adventure out there for about a year.
Wow.
Made things work. Then came back to Alberta here eventually. But the main thing was I'd worked with the Undoing stuff by myself for I don't know, 3 or 4 years, but getting into contact with you was, I mean, 10 times a level up from working by myself.
And in what
It was,
way? How is that? So that's sometimes hard to communicate to people.
yeah. So just being taken through the sequence of exercises and having somebody observe your body and responding in kind and taking you through the sequence is so much more powerful than being by yourself. And just having that guidance, not just with the exercises, but with a lot of the cognitive type stuff that you're doing as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and for people that don't know, the Exosome Codex course was built out of a workshop that I put on in Portland, Oregon, many years ago at this really strange and interesting conference called Exozone, and so I put that into a workshop or into an online workshop in PDF and stuff that you could do on your own and that you could use with other people as well. And so it was exercises like face stretches and some other stuff paired up with concepts that I thought at the time lined up or elaborated on what that body part, the tension and relaxation in that body part kind of correlate with in social dynamics or conceptual kind of ideas about yourself, about others, about the body, about life. So yeah, you went, and did you put that on for people as part of that?
I did not end up putting that on for
You did
people.
not.
No.
So yeah, we should have held you more to the fire.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but you went deep then with those exercises, I'm guessing, and those concepts and everything.
Yeah. I mean, that
go ahead.
Blew my mind, changed my life. I mean, there were times I would wake up for work and be absolutely nauseous, wanting to throw up. All that stuff went away with diligent work in this practice.
Oh, that's pretty amazing. Yeah, so that's kind of one thing I wanted to ask more generally. So what did you start seeking this kind of stuff for in the first place?
Just not feeling generally happy or well within myself. I knew there was something I was looking for. I didn't know what it was. I mean, I reached out into everything I could find.
Yeah.
And this seemed like the strongest stuff that you could do. So I immediately gravitated towards this. And unlike the other stuff I mentioned, like yoga and Tai Chi, it had an immediate effect.
Yeah.
After the first session.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. So then what were the effects for you? Both like just during a single session and then with ongoing work?
So I was very diligent. You had outlined some of the daily stuff that I could do. So I started waking up early and doing that on top of the weekly sessions, the weekly undoing sessions. And it was just like, instead of having the monkey mind constantly going and, oh, am I screwing up? Am I doing this right? Am I doing this wrong? Fear, anxiety, it all just sort of melted away with diligent practice.
That's pretty awesome. And that has stayed that way, right? Over time?
It just gets deeper and deeper.
Deeper and deeper. So in what ways? So now let's fast forward, I guess. So you jumped on the year-long teacher training thing. So what was that like for you, that experience? Now, considering you'd been going at the undoing stuff, we'd been in touch for all these years, working together from time to time. So then what was this teacher training thing like for you?
Yeah, so I kept following you closely and I saw this opportunity. I mean, right from the Exozone stuff, I wanted to get into this work and take people through long sessions. Mm-hmm. And I saw the opportunity pop up and I had to jump on it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you did, man. It was a wild year, really, especially doing that, meeting up every week. And so what was some things that stood out to you about it? Or what did you come away with, let's say? Where are you at now with that?
I'm definitely able to flow with life more easily. So when things go wrong, I can, instead of getting all tense and upset and angry and having reactions, I can adjust accordingly.
And any differences in your romantic relationships or friendships or connections with other people?
People seem to gravitate towards me now, whereas before I really had this super tensed up body language where nobody would approach me, whether it's in the gym, in a grocery store. I have people randomly approaching me all the time, trying to make friends, from homeless people to business owners to gym friends. It's unreal.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, that's really cool when that happens. Wow. Very cool. So, is there anything else I'm not thinking of? Like, what do you think a person could expect through doing some of the Command Z courses or getting a session from you? You know, why would they want to do that, do you think?
Expect a more flowing life. Expect the unexpected. Expect a deep sense of relaxation that's honestly difficult to put into words, but just try it. Just come try it. Just try one session. You'll be hooked.
Yeah, it's outstanding. There's really nothing else like it. And I'm guessing that the people that end up at my door or your door are people who've tried a lot of other things like you and I did as well, and then they'll be ready for, because I guess it is a little bit of effort to lay down and do this kind of work. It's not as much effort as being at the gym for that amount of time, but or maybe it is. It's just not as much physical effort. But I guess there's some other sort of experiences a person has to go through. It doesn't sound like much if I explain it just on physical terms. Like, well, you're going to lay down, do some specific kind of breathing, and move your body with your breathing, and it'll break apart chronic tensions. I don't know that anybody's mind can really conceive of the reality of what that experience is like with just those words, like I said now. You know, I don't know how better to explain it, but
it's almost impossible to describe in words. It'd be like me telling you what putting 400 pounds on your back and squatting down feels like. If you don't work up to doing that, you'll never know.
Yeah.
You have to jump in.
Yeah, that's kind of what it comes down to, and soon we'll have a bunch of I guess a little bit easier ways for people to jump in. Not going to make it too easy because it's, you know, you got to put a warning out in front of this work that a lot of things might fall apart in your life, especially things where you've gone hiding or where if you built up a life that you really don't like around you and you're tolerating things that you shouldn't be tolerating, those are going to become intolerable once you're more present and aware. And then that means you go through maybe a period where things seem more messed up than they were when you started, but that's just because you're more aware. Just like how the body might seem more tense when you start because you were unaware of how tense it was, and now you're being made brutally aware of that. But it's the awareness that starts to reduce the tension over time, and the effects are cumulative, as you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks a lot, Mark. And we'll be doing a bunch of streams on specific topics, and we'll share. Maybe we'll do one where we go through a bunch of the warm-ups together and some concepts. Maybe we could run the Exozone, you know, or little pieces of it. That might be fun on the YouTube channel. So stay tuned for all that. If you're not subscribed, get subscribed. We're going to be pushing on the YouTube a lot more very soon. So. Like I said before, you can reach Mark at mark@radicalandoing.com for sessions in person around in and around Alberta or Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. If you're one of the unfortunate people who still lives in Canada, like Mark, no, there's a lot of beautiful parts of Canada. You know, you can't blame the country for the government. So, no, I would love to go to Canada again. It's a great place. So, yeah, I think that's all for today. But thanks for jumping on, Mark. And we will come. We've got a whole bunch of cool stuff that we've been talking about and planning. So we can jump on and start doing that. So you can look forward to seeing both of us and Tyler, and maybe some other surprise guests coming up soon in the future. So, like I said, get subscribed, click like, leave us a comment, and if you're in Canada, anywhere near Mark, get in touch. Go get a session and. Look forward to hearing from you and hearing how it goes. Anything else? Anything else I missed, Mark? Or are we good?
Well, now the dogs are waking up, so we should probably end this. You again,
okay.
Garrett.
Cool, man. Well, thanks a lot, and we'll be doing a lot more of these, and I look forward to it. It's a lot of fun. So have fun. Say hi to the dogs for me, and yeah, we'll leave it at that.
Will do.
All right, man. Enjoy.